I'm Christy Strauss, Broker Sales Director at IAD, and today we have Dustin Van Wyn with HAP that's going to kind of give us a little layout of what's going on right now in the industry as we're in week 2, 3, going on week 3 of AEP. And so this will be a very short but pretty rich webinar. He's going to share some information with us. So Dustin, I'm going to let you take it from here. And thanks so much for taking time to listen in on this and presenting, Dustin. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, this will be definitely a short and sweet presentation. It's about a 10 to 15-minute presentation. And I'm just going to talk about what we've seen. We're about 2 full weeks into AEP. And it's been a very interesting AEP, to say the least. Very different than I think what any of the carriers expected. So I'll kind of give a quick tad bit of information on that and hopefully give you some insight on what we're seeing from a trend. So the first thing I want to talk about is buying habits for 2022. This year is very different than any year we've ever seen. I've been doing this for about 16 years now, and it seems like the cold calling from the national call centers has definitely disrupted the market here in Michigan, and Michigan has definitely been hit hardest with the national call centers. And what I mean by the national call centers is these large companies outside of Chicago and big inner cities are basically cold calling people in Michigan because of the opportunity here. We've had the fastest growth out of any state in the entire country. And actually in Ingham County has been the fastest county in the entire country as far as Medicare Advantage growth. So we've obviously seen all the national carriers come here in Michigan, but we've also seen the call center start cold calling consumers here in Michigan, which we know is illegal. CMS is definitely investigating it, but they don't move too quickly. So what does that mean to you as agents? Well, with the cold calling, what we've seen is a few things, and this is why I think it's so important. Some of you may have seen my email I sent out the other day about called fraud, and I had a recording. And one of the things I've been talking about is, one, clients are being scammed into moving into these national carriers. We're really out with not even out understanding the benefits. I had 6 people this week that told me that they're actually lied to about the benefits. They were told they're going to get their entire Part B paid for, which is definitely not correct, because they're high income people. And we've had people where they're actually saying, no, just send me the material, and they're actually getting enrolled. So that's done a couple things. Is one, we've seen a high disenrollment rate for agents and carriers to these national plans. But what that means to you as an agent, that means your clients are leaving without them even knowing, or probably without them even talking to you. But a lot of times they're moving to a plan they don't understand, or their doctors won't accept. And so the first thing I want to give you advice for is we are telling all agents, make sure your clients are aware of this fraud that's happening. If they receive anything in the mail, they see stuff on TV, or they get called regarding Medicare, hang up, throw it away, don't respond. All it takes is them to pick up the phone, and these people aren't enrolling them. So I'm very well aware of who the call center is. I've had 6 CMS meetings this week alone. So we are doing our job along with some of the other carriers here in Michigan to get them shut down, but it does take a lot of time. So first thing, make sure your clients are aware of this. Do what you can to protect them, whether it's doing emails to them, letters, even though we're telling them not to read anything or take any calls. Now, what does that mean for you as an agent, and what should you be doing? And hopefully you can see my screen. I'm going to go into these 3 things here in a second. But the best advice I can give you as an agent, I've never been a fan of voicemails, ever. So I always tell agents, never leave a voicemail because you can't call them back again because they know you've already called. However, in today's world, HAP gets about 25,000 leads during AEP, and we take those leads. We have a call center, so we don't give them out to agents. I know that's frustrating, but our call center calls these people, and they call them all day. However, no one's answering. And that's what we found this AEP is the answer rate for not just leads, but even members. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and he said his members are hanging up on him. And so what we're finding is this is a year where outside the norm, you should be leaving voicemails, professional voicemails, to whether it's your clients you're trying to get a hold of or potential leads. I would never say that. I've been calling on leads for 16 years, and I would never have given that advice. However, in the current environment we're seeing, that's the only chance you're probably going to get them to actually answer. So if you're not doing emails or letters, leave a voicemail. You'll never hear me say that again, but it's probably the only possibility you're going to get them to actually return your call, because more than likely, based on all of the media we've seen, they're not answering. So just something to be aware of. So that's the first thing we're seeing. The second thing we're hearing a lot of is plans. So the plans for 2022, very similar. And we were expecting a lot of people changing plans this year, and we're not seeing that because the plans are pretty much all identical. You look at the market, they're almost all $0 PPO and $0 HMO plans. The PCPs are all zero. The specialists are all around 40. The inpatient hospitals are all around 310. They all offer dental. They all offer vision. They all offer hearing aids. They all offer over the counter. So from a plan standpoint, they all look the same, at least on the cover. What we're seeing though is the doctors are actually, and the dentists are disrupting the market, which is great for HAP, because this is where we specialize in, is we can't sell on cover. We have to sell on what we do as a company. And so a couple things we're seeing on the disruption side is people are starting to talk about rehab. Doctors are really pushing against Medicare Advantage in some situations, but also that their clients are aware that rehab is extremely expensive, okay? And so you've probably heard me talk about this in many of the meetings I've done, but rehab on average is about a $30 to $40 copay, 30 on the low end. That's like really low. Most of them are 40 or 50, but about a $40 copay. And the problem with rehab is people don't just go once a month. They're going 3 times on average a week for 8 weeks. That means they're going 12 times a month. So like HAP, we're on the low end, we're $20. That $10 difference is $120 a month to your clients. Extremely important, and one of the things that will separate us and why clients are moving right now. The second thing we've heard is not just with COVID, but we're seeing a lot of people that are having strokes, seizures, things like that, and they're needing more than just 3 visits. We've had 2 patients I've now spoken to in the last couple of weeks that were going 9 to 10 times a week for rehab. Okay, so just think about that. 9 times a week, that's 36 times a month. A $10 difference, so happens about $10 lower than the next closest company. A $10 difference at 36 times a month is $360 difference. That'll get your clients to move. And so I always tell agents this, yeah, you know what, this is the year where people are probably not going to move as much as we expected. But if you can save your clients $360 a month, I think they'll move. And so this copay is one of the top things that doctors are talking about right now. The second thing that's happening right now in our industry is ambulatory surgical centers. Ambulatory surgical centers are doing 50% of the outpatient surgeries, and no one's really talking about this. And the problem with that is, if you look at the ambulatory surgical copays, they vary significantly, but they're hidden in the benefit summaries. HAP's ambulatory surgical center copay, 145 on the high end, okay? So now think about that. We're 145. The next closest company, actually I might take that back. There's one company that's in line with us. Outside of that, they're all about $300 to $325 for the ASC. So if your client is getting an outpatient surgery, which most of your clients will probably need one at some point, there's a 50% chance it's done in the ASC facility. If they don't have HAP, they're going to pay $300 some dollars. If they have HAP, 145. Those are the 2 most talked about copays right now amongst physicians. So if your doctors are talking to their clients about it, that means if you're not selling them one of those plans that have that low PT or that low SC copay, they're going to shop it during OEP. Second thing, most talked about thing ever right now is dental. We are getting a bombardment of calls regarding dental benefits. Now, 2 things. One is, the first question is comprehensive. If you're selling a dental plan right now, that is a $0 plan that doesn't have built-in comprehensive dental, I promise you, your client is going to shop it within the next 3 months, okay? Why do I say that? Well, we're seeing right now that 9.5 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, 95% of the consumers that are shopping are looking for dental. And they're not looking for preventative, because every company now covers preventative for $0. It's the comprehensive. They want their fillings and their root canals covered for nothing also. So number 1 thing, make sure you have that. The number 2 thing we're being asked is, we've been really watching our calls, and almost every call there's all the data comes to us and we can see exactly why they're calling. And the number, besides dental being the number 1 reason they're calling, it's comprehensive is the number 1 reason regarding dental, but the number 2 thing, network. These consumers have been royally, beat down by their dentist with networks, okay? So what we're hearing from the dentist is, no, I'm no longer going to take that blue company. I'm no longer going to let my client just pay me and then wait to get reimbursed, or not pay me and wait to get reimbursed by these health insurance companies. And so the dentists are pushing really, really hard back on the consumers. So here's what I'm saying. If your insurance company that you're selling says, well, our in-network and out-of-network is the same, that is a complete lie. Okay, a flat out lie, because there's two things. One is they don't have a negotiated rate, which means your client, when they go there, has no clue what they're going to pay for that filling. It could be $500 for one filling, because the dentist can charge them whatever they want. Number two is your insurance your client is going to have to get the dentist to bill that insurance company. Do you think these dentists right now want to deal with insurance companies? No. So what they're going to do is make your client pay for it and then get reimbursed from the insurance company, which doesn't happen. So dental network, extremely important. If the companies you're representing don't have a 98% of the dental network, your clients are going to shop it. Okay. Last thing to end this presentation, agent and customer service. So we have seen an extreme amount of shopping. Now, this is very different than what I just said a minute ago. So what we're seeing is clients are not changing plans. However, they are shopping. The shopping right now is the highest it's ever been in history here in Michigan. Plan changes, very low. But here's what they're doing is, because they're getting cold called all day long. I mean, I was talking to my parents, they're getting like 6 calls a day. Okay? They're seeing the Joe Namath commercials and now the new guy, whatever his name is, on TV. They're hearing about these Part B givebacks, these $3,000 dental benefits. So they're calling the insurance carriers. Now, what they're not doing is they're not saying, hey, I'm going to pick up the phone and call an agent and say, hey, sell me the best plan, because they're so afraid of being taken advantage of. What they're doing is they're calling the carriers direct. So HAP has, say, 25,000 or 30,000 clients. Okay, these clients are actually calling us instead of calling their agents, which is unheard of. Our customer service call volume is like 10 times what it was this past year. So they're calling us and they're saying, hey, I saw this advertisement. What does HAP have to offer? So they're calling us directly. And then what's happening is our call center is reviewing the plans with them and seeing what one makes the most sense based on what they're asking. And a lot of times they're actually changing their plan. So as an agent, you're saying, wait, my clients are calling HAP and HAP is changing their plan without talking to me. Yes, it's happening all day long. Okay, every carrier. Here's something you need to be aware of as an agent. If the company you represent will not leave you on as AOR, if they call the call center, you're in big trouble. Don't sell that company, because this year, those call centers are going to get 90% of the calls from your clients. So again, let me repeat that. If the company you are selling changes the AOR, if the client calls that company directly and does a plan change and they change the AOR, you shouldn't be representing that company. Only represent the companies that will maintain AOR, whether they call you as the agent and do a plan change, or they call the carrier directly and do a plan change. Extremely important this year. Secondly, term reports. If your company is not sending, the company you represent is not sending you a TRR report on a weekly basis, your book of business is in big trouble. What we're seeing right now is a insane volume of disenrollments because of these national call centers. So they're calling the clients, client says, no, send me something. They're doing the enrollments anyways. So what we're seeing is all these people are being enrolled without them even knowing. If you are not getting these term reports, which are called TRR reports, how are you as the agent going to know if your client doesn't even know they've been moved? HAP is sending out these TRR reports every other day. So you will get from us every other day a list of the clients that have terms. So you can call them and say, hey, you moved to this national carrier. Did you mean to do that, or were you taken advantage of? We're saving right now, this number will shock you, 15 to 20 a day. Let me repeat that. We're bringing back 15 to 20 people a day that were disenrolled from HAP for AEP without knowing it. Make sure you're getting those disenrollment reports. Make sure the AOR doesn't change if they call the carrier directly. I hope this information helps you out. I know it's quick, it's just a lot of information, very quick, but this is what we're seeing so far this year in AEP. Hope you can use this to help you sell, and hope you choose HAP for 2022. Chris, that's pretty much my presentation. Thank you.
Well, that's great information, very rich and robust. And thanks so much for sharing that. There's some really insightful things. And I have to tell you, I've spoken to several agents in the past week that have told me about this fraud that they're dealing with. So I know it's out there. I didn't realize it's really stemming from some of these major call centers, but that makes sense. And yeah, it's probably a good idea to be in the know and know how to sort of combat this really. But what I wanted to let everybody know, and please ask questions, is that this is recorded, this little webinar, and I'm sending this link inside of an email. It'll be embedded. So if you wanted to listen to it again, you'll have another opportunity. So just kind of a little heads up on that. And so if anybody has any questions, I'm not seeing any right now. But if you do, go ahead and type them in now, and Dustin can address those. Doesn't look like, Dustin, I'm getting any.
Nope, I don't see any questions.
Okay, all right. Well, you were right. It was short and sweet and to the point. So, oh, looks like we do have a question, Dustin.
I just see thanks for the information. I don't see any other thing else.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All
Well, I hope
right.
everyone has a great week, and I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.